Well, hello and welcome to the final pre-race show for the AOSC 10, all thanks to Jinx Shifters. Can you believe it? It's been 16 rounds. Where has the first half of this year gone? I'm Matty Kavanagh, back here for the pre-race show and joined by Daniel Leet and Matthew Norris. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
It is the final pre-race show for this round of the Jinx Shifters AOSC 10. We need to thank all of our fantastic supporters throughout this season. Of course, we could not do this without them. Jinx Shifters, fantastic products. What more can we say about those shifters, brake bias adjusters? Also, big thanks to AJ Insurance Services, Simrigs.com, Sydney Computers, Bowler Media, Sideways Photography for coming on board, Race Circuit Art Australia, and just bringing that extra element to our broadcast, of course, Track Cams for Gourmets. We love everyone who's joined us on the AOSC TV YouTube. Can't thank you enough for liking that one. It's been a big season, but let's talk about last round at Brands Hatch. It was a 150-kilometre sprint race. It all went down to the final moments. Although, as you can see by the results, James Scott gets himself another win with Corey Shepherd coming in second. Damian Johnson, though, an impressive result there for him, third place in the Synergy Sim Racing entry. Then it's a new name to the series that we haven't seen before until round 15, Rick Kuznetsov, who joined us, and amazing drive from him and showed a lot of talent there. Borgie's back there in the top 10 in position number 5. Middle of the season, a few issues there, but he's got himself back on track. Then it was Sean Lindsell, Jamie Dyke, Kenneth Latta, Michael Whiting, and Sebastian Flock that rounded out our top 10. Well, Brands Hatch was the penultimate round of the AOSC 10. Dan, there was some new name there in the mix, but some other impressive results from people further down.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a good event all in all. We saw a really good clean getaway, which we sort of spoke of last time. We expected to be a little bit of difficulty for the guys as they work their way down off the hill and in towards that first hairpin. We did get the guys a little unsettled as they sort of filtered their way through early on. But after that, I mean, we did see a safety car. Everyone managed to separate themselves out rather nicely. And as the guys up front managed to work their way back through the field and start putting a lap on a few of the slower cars, there wasn't too much contention as they worked their way through. So really good driving all around there. And as you were saying before, we had some exciting new names up towards the pointy end of the field.
Yeah, and Nora, did you have any standouts from the last round?
Mainly the standout of the no safety cars. That was pretty incredible. There was nothing at all safety car wise. But, as Dan said, James cleared out and controlled the race. Yeah, there was a lot there to be seen, and it was a nice clean round for AOSC. So heading into the penultimate round, you always want to have a clean race and make sure no one does anything silly. I thought it was well handled by everyone.
Yes, and it did make a bit of a change when it came to our points in the series as well. So let's check those out right now. And as you can see, James Scott now, he is leading this 3,960 points. He is untouchable. He has secured himself back-to-back season wins. So a big shout out to James Scott and the team. They're doing a fantastic job. Corey Shepherd, much the same, has cemented that second position. And mathematically, no one can catch up to him either, but he cannot get to James Scott. So he'll end up in second position in the championship. But this is where it gets interesting. Let's look at the next three. Andrew Dyson, Damian Johnson, Adam Briggs. We're going to talk about that very shortly. But further in the championship at the moment, the standings are Brian Borg in 6th, Tom Freer in 7th, Jordan Ross in 8th, Thomas Hinz in 9th, and Kyle Stokes was the top 10 there for the Series Championships as it stands after round 15. 1 and 2 have cemented their positions, but number 3 has not yet. Dan, how much of a chance do you think Adam Briggs will have coming from 5th to possibly get on the podium in 3rd?
Well, I think DPR are in a really good spot here. We know, based on what we've seen throughout the course of the championship and the Enduros especially, both Dyson and Briggs are very well suited in the car. If we think back to how that unfolded at Silverstone, they were right on the money towards the pointy end. There's going to be plenty of competition, however, still between Borg and Shepherd. We expect those two to still continue to team up. And I mean, they're very strong as a driver pairing as well. So for Briggs and Dyson, I think they've pretty well cemented that third, maybe fourth position there. It might bring Briggs back up into play. Johnston we expect to be extremely well teamed up, as we've seen throughout the course of this season as well. So still plenty to play for. I think the big one, though, we might potentially see Brian, if he's able to get a good result there with Corey, potentially bump himself up into that fourth position overall. The big one, however, and the big question mark remains Tom Freer and the new teammate that he has coming on board for this one.
Yes, well, do you call it teammate or team hindrance, Norrie?
You call it a teammate, and it's quite an illustrious teammate that Tom's been able to sign for this round. He comes off a championship in another series and a massive wall smack in the AOSC. It is yours truly.
Yeah. Oh, joining him for the final one. So that means we're going to get some in-car commentary from you this week.
Absolutely. I will be up and down the mountain and talking my way through it. Basically, if you want to have a look at the car from the driver as the driver is trying to sing a song and go down the hill, that's when you cut into me, and that's where I'll be.
You just need an excuse for all your wall banging.
No, there's plenty. There's plenty.
Yeah,
I've already hit the wall at Watkins. I'm done. This is going to be a podium race.
This is the question then. So we talk about that battle for third position. Now, if Andrew Dyson and Adam Briggs team up, that takes Briggs out of that chance, really. I mean, it should help him. Maybe he can step up into fourth position, but that will take the factor out between him and Dyson if they join up as a team. And just having another couple look at them, I mean, Jordan Ross is another one. Who's he going to team up with? Because it's a bit of a surprise last time to go with James Scott.
Absolutely. And I mean, those guys had a really strong run. We saw that super bizarre netcode issue that really hindered their run. But I mean, as a pairing, both Scott and Ross there came back through the field exceptionally well. So those two very smooth and consistent.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out how it all unfolds this week. But it's a familiar track. I think we've all been there. We've all done some laps of this place. It's well known within the supercar community. Of course, it is Bathurst. 650 Ks is where we're going this week. It's a big lap to put together, over 6 kilometres. Dan, you want to run us through it?
Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's a circuit that everyone in Australia and now more so the world has really got to grips with coming around. Plenty of challenge, massive amounts of undulation that these guys are going to have to work their way through. So 104 laps, and traditionally we've seen it come right down to the wire in that final pit stop cycle. So expect that to happen again. The big things to keep an eye on, the rundown off Skyline is always critical. And how many times have we seen a car find its way into the wall through the dipper? Get the nice run down through Conrod, get a move into the chase, set yourself up for a good spot to finish this one off. And Norrie, I mean, from there, we got to see something a little bit different this time for the Norris Navigation lap.
Absolutely. Well, I thought it's the spiritual home of Australian motorsport. We can't talk it up any further than it is. It's Bathurst. But I've been hogging this Norris Navigation lap all season. And I thought, why don't I bring you boys along? Let's have a spin. All three commentators on track. This is Norris Navigation.
G'day everyone and welcome to Norris Navigation. This is a special treat. We've got all three commentators lined up. Matty Cav, myself and Daniel Leet, all ready to have a crack at one ultimate lap of Bathurst. Boys, away we go.
Oh, it's Matty Cav. Looks like you got to jump on the boys. I know what they're doing, having a bit of a sleep on the line. You always got to be careful. I'm sneaky like that. All right, first corner down to second gear. If you get a good start there, just be careful around here. It's quite slippery on the exit too. Just get the throttle down nicely. Take off, and it's through all the gears. Get through as many as you can, but as you go down, of course, the mountain straight, there is a little crest here under the Petters sign. You need to watch out for that because you will excite the wheels. You get a little bit of wheel spin there. We try and grab sixth gear down here. It's going to be hard. Then hard on the brakes. Down to third gear as we turn into turn number 2. The right-hander, get around here. Get on the accelerator on the apex and drive it out. Up the mountain we start to progress. Here we go. Try and grab fourth gear as you go through here. Then you've got to get down. Slight kink to the left. Hard on the brakes, but be careful not to squiggle the brakes. And a sharp left-hander as we go through. Up the mountain again. We're We go across the top. I'll hand over to Norrie because he's going to take it on this next stage.
Here's Cav. Here we go. Through here, round under the change under the tree. This is the part of the mountain you can really work it as we dip down into a metal grate. A lot of pressure on the front wheels there to get the turning done. As we come to the top of Skyline, and here we go. Wave at the crowd because they're going to need some attention as we begin to drop off the hill. Now you've got to turn into a ballerina as you dive this thing down the hill, down the dipper, and then smash your right foot on the firewall, get the drive traction as we exit out of the dipper. Make our way down into Forest Elbow, where we're going to give Dan Lead a bit of a turn. Here you go, Dan.
Yeah, thanks for that, Norrie. As we get down off the elbow, run it out wide to the wall, and then it's a bit of time for a bit of breath as you come up through the gears. Up fourth gear, fifth as you get under the Jim Beam sign. As you head towards the Fuso sign, you'll pluck sixth gear as you crest the top of the hill. Get ready, though, for the run through the chase. You've got a little bit of road on the left here that you're going to swing the car through, fire over the curb, and hit the marks down into the 150k board as you run it up over the curbs. Grab third quickly so you can minimise the wheel spin on exit. Use that little bit of curb on the outside. Pit lane right there on your left-hand side, and then down into the second big braking zone on this circuit into the final corner. Traction's important as you come out. Use the curb. Third gear as you get up over the line. Fourth, and then down off to start another lap.
Well, it was a bit of fun doing that lap with you, Norrie, I must admit, and I do need to thank you guys because we did about 8 takes on that just for me to get up the first third of the track. At your, probably about 75% of the speed you guys could do it.
It was an encouraging lap to follow you around there.
Now, Dan, let's talk about some of the laps that we haven't put up on the pre-race show. Now, some controversial moves there.
Well, yeah, as we saw, we got a good chance to take some time in different segments of the lap, and we thought, well, hang on, we've done this individually. Let's have a bit of a solid crack at it. And there were quite a few times there where, especially down into Murray's corner, Norrie, with the massive late lunge and not being able to pull it off, stuck it down the inside, rotated the car, and he reckons he was the better commentator on the day. But I think we all know, based on what we've seen through the season, Norrie, where that stacks up.
Well, the talent scouts were obviously looking when I spun you at Murray's corner, because that's how I got my drive with Tom Free this weekend.
Don't mess it up, though.
Don't mess it up. Me and Dad are going to be hot on the trot to hang a bit on you this week, I reckon. So,
and that's why I'm going to be still in the commentary booth, even when I'm in the car, because I'm going to keep an eye on you, boy.
Oh, you're going to have to keep an ear out, I tell you. Now, but in all seriousness, Norrie, pit stop strategy.
Well, this is important. I'm not giving mine away, but I'll give you someone else's. Pit a lot, fill up the car, pump your pedal, make sure you've got a brake pad, because you get at the top of Murray's corner. You get at the top of Griffin's Bend and you don't have a brake pad, you will spin the car into the fence. So it's a normal enduro, 650, gives you about 4 hours, about 4 pit stops in that one. Watch out for safety cars, catch the safety cars if you can. And, Bathurst has a synonymous pit lane. Pit exit's easy, pit entry is hard. Miss the sand pit if you can. Don't do a wing up.
And the other big thing too, just sorry to cut in there, but one thing we do need to touch on, and it got picked up at Silverstone, driver time allocation. Get that on the money, because we've seen guys lose it from there. Norrie, you've at least got to turn 35 laps around the mountain. So no pressure, mate. 35 laps.
Only
34 more than Watkins. So let's see how you do.
Yeah. Well, it all kicks off, and we need to talk about this because we go live at 7:25 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for the broadcast, which is we go back to this. The top 10 in the first session of qualifying go to a single lap qualifier. So another cat amongst the pigeons there. We throw in another bit of difficulty there. And Norrie, biggest question is, will you be taking that lap?
God, no. Tom Frere is the faster driver, and he will be taking the car for that lap if we qualify in that position. He's been out of the car for a few weeks. He's been off playing some GT3s. So whether he's on the pace in the V8 is going to be a big question. And that's probably why I got the call up, because none of us have got any talent around there.
Well, we're going to have to see who else teams up, because, Jordan Ross teams up with James Scott again. Who would take the qualifying? You think James Scott would, but Jordan Ross is quite quick as well. So we'll have to wait and see who teams up with everybody. We don't have those that information yet. So it'll be very interesting to see how that all happens. Of course, qualifying, the single lap shootout will start at 7:25 Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's when our broadcast will be up. And 8 p.m. is when the main race. It's going to be a huge one, this one from Bathurst, to finish off the Jinx Shifters AOSC 10. Is there anything else we need to talk about, guys?
Well, safety cars. We didn't touch on that. I'm banking on 3.
Oh, good. We're taking
I'm
bets.
not going to cause one of them.
Oh, no, I'm going to say Norrie causes 1 safety car, and I'll go with 3 overall, but one of them will be from Norrie.
No, there'll be 2 safety cars. I won't cause a single one.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys from the podium.
Oh, look, can't wait for you to join us there. 7:25 Australian Eastern Standard Time. AOSC 10 finishes at Bathurst, round number 16 of the season. Can't wait. See you then.